Welcome to Trial Site News Weekly Roundup. My name is Adrian and I'll be going over some of our top news stories from this past week. Please click the subscribe button and ring the bell to be notified of future videos. This week we start our roundup with cardiovascular disease-related news stories. Grand Rapids, Michigan-based Spectrum Health has enrolled the first patient in the ST elevation myocardial infarction door to unloading, or STEMI-DTU, pivotal randomized controlled trial. This trial's sponsors are seeking to test the hypothesis that unloading the heart's left ventricle for 30 minutes with an Impella heart pump prior to opening blocked arteries will reduce myocardial damage from a heart attack and lead to reduction in future heart failure rates. Reports sponsored a Biomed. Elsewhere, the definition of what constitutes a heart attack, also known as a myocardial infarction, and the data points used to create a best practices report for cardiac patient care has created a storm of controversy in the European cardiac field. Turning now to cancer-related news stories. Cancer Research UK is investing £10 million in a pancreatic clinical research project to identify ways to accelerate scientific discovery and improve survival rates of those cancer patients. The bulk of the funds, roughly about £8 million, will go to investigators at Glasgow University. Meanwhile, there is a tremendous value in identifying new purposes for existing drugs. Recently, Georgetown University Medical Center, or the GUMC, embarked on a project to do just that for Parkinson's disease with a cancer drug called Nilotinib. They found that the drug in people with Parkinson's disease was reasonably safe and well tolerated. Further study with cautious optimism is next. Meanwhile, Kite Pharma, Gilead, and their CAR-T therapy Yescarta violated a patient from Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, or the MSKCC, which was licensed to BMS Juno Therapeutics and to MSKCC. A federal jury finds Kite must pay $752 million. Gilead paid $11.9 billion for the drug in 2017. Something is terribly wrong with this picture. Continuing on with cancer-related news. Moffitt Cancer Center CEO Dr. Alan List is purportedly leaving the institution due to a violation of the cancer center's rules for conflict of interest due to some sort of research work with China. Recently, local media 8 On Your Side reported that an internal investigation into hospital dealings found that a number of members in the leadership failed to disclose substantial contributions of resources from other organizations, foreign affiliations, and financial conflicts of interest. Apparently, if reports are true, China's Thousand Talents program penetrated the Moffitt Cancer Center, leaving a trail of conflict of interest in its path. Meanwhile, Ascension Borgess, a hospital system part of the much larger Ascension company, plans to build a $20 million, 38,000 square foot cancer center in Oshtemo Township. The health system purchased from the land from Western Michigan University with easy access to US 131 freeway for patient access. The new center will include state-of-the-art medical oncology, hematology, and infusion outpatient services. Elsewhere, UroGen announced the U.S. FDA has accepted for filing and granted priority review for its new drug application, or NDA, for UGN-101 for installation as a potential treatment for patients with low-grade upper tract urothelial cancer, or LGUTUC. The FDA assigned a Prescription Drug User Fee Act, or PDUFA, action, which dates of April 18, 2020. Now, if approved, UGN-101 would be the first non-surgical treatment option for LGUTUC. And we'll keep you posted on this story as it continues to develop. Elsewhere, a cancer researcher at Case Western Reserve University has developed a GPS map to guide navigation devices, evidencing 90% accuracy in pinpointing brain tumors. The new technology will be put to the test in clinical trials with patients at Cleveland Clinic under a 3-year, $600,000 V Foundation grant. Florida Cancer Specialists and Research Institute, or the FCS, announced a new $16 million state-of-the-art facility in Lakewood Ranch, Florida, to house an advanced cancer center. The 10,820 square foot center will include 38 chemotherapy chairs, 10 examination rooms, fixed imaging suite, including a Siemens unit, and will offer access to clinical trials. As it turns out, they are one of the most influential cancer research site operations in America. Continuing on with cancer-related news stories. Recently, Indiana University, or IU, in collaboration with Vera Bradley Foundation, found their clinical trial for breast cancer in a too common predicament. It was moribund, effort recruiting participants with breast cancer. Then, IU utilized social network site Facebook, and suddenly enrollment went into full throttle. Now, doctors revealed that lives could be saved for patients with triple-negative breast cancer. A good turn to this story. Now, as it turns out, more than 3/4 or 77% of those patients suffering from stage 4 metastatic pancreatic adenocarcinoma, pancreatic cancer, and treated with a protocol developed by an Israeli-based biopharmaceutical company are able to get their disease under control. According to the results of an ongoing study, the investigational therapy is called BL8040. Now, Progenics Pharmaceuticals announced positive top-line results from the Phase 3 CONDOR trial evaluating the diagnostic performance and clinical impact of PyL in men with biochemical reoccurrence of prostate cancer. PyL is the company's PSMA-targeted small molecule positron emission tomography, or PET, imaging agent designed to visualize prostate cancer. Turning now to clinical trials-related news stories. Claudia Pamanes, with a flair for research, was nominated as the Blue Devil of the Week, employed as a research scholar at the Duke Department of Neurosurgery. Claudia's passion and love for research leads her to be the nexus of 9 Duke clinical trials at any one time. Meanwhile, StudyKick, a clinical trial patient recruitment and technology company that owns hundreds of digital patient communities and provides technology solutions for clinical trials, has announced its patient engagement and retention mobile application that is fully customizable per protocol. StudyKick's patient engagement and retention application provides a user-friendly technology for clinical trial participants that are randomized into clinical trials. The vendor positions that its mobile application has been developed to address the industry problem of retaining those that join a clinical trial but drop out at some point after their participation has begun. This patient-centric mobile application is expected to have up to a 73% increase in patient study retention and over a 200% increase in patient engagement through the application. We suspect the vendor bases its success forecast on previous experience, but cannot be certain. And we'll keep you posted on the story as it continues to develop. Meanwhile, a pediatric dermatologist at Provider M Health Fairview, Dr. Sheilagh McGuinness, MD, FAAD, focuses on pediatrics with a special interest in the diagnosis and management of vascular anomalies, including hemangiomas, capillary malformations, and complex vascular birthmarks. In addition to patient care at the clinic, Dr. McGuinness is active in teaching and engaged in research, clinical trials, in all aspects of pediatric dermatology. Recently, she coordinated with renowned fashion photographer Rick Wiatti for supermodel treatment for patients pediatrics struggling with dermatology issues. Elsewhere, Eastern Washington State, known for its rural and self-reliant culture, shares its biggest city of Spokane with pride. Spokane was settled by tough pioneers, traders, and fur trappers, and then moved into heavy resource extraction industries, timber, mining, etc. later on, but has become dynamic and cosmopolitan in its own ways over the years. In fact, the city was the center of the first environmentally themed World's Fair in 1974. And just recently, the attractive city surrounded by natural beauty became the epicenter for the Washington State University Elson S. Floyd College of Medicine. Founded recently in 2015, the public medical school was one of the 3 medical schools in the state of Washington by its 2017 inaugural class. It has very quickly differentiated itself not only as a fine medical school, but also as a nexus of entrepreneurial activity. Cambridge-based Rios Medicine inked a deal worth nearly $800 million for a research and development pact. The biopharmaceutical company harnessing insights in immunometabolism in the quest to create a new class of therapeutics for patients with severe autoimmune disorders. inflammatory diseases, and cancer entered into an exclusive worldwide collaboration, option, and license agreement with Roche to discover, develop, and commercialize novel therapeutics in the field of immunometabolism. The National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, or the NIAID, part of the National Institute of Health, or the NIH, will inject $102.5 million in renewed research funding over 7 years for the Antibacterial Resistant Leadership Group, or the ARLG. This consortium of scientific experts leads a comprehensive clinical research network overseeing important scientific questions related to antibacterial resistance. An industry group from Israel, Israeli Advanced Technology Industries, or the IATI, recently published a report on the state of the life science industry along with accounting consultancy, or the PwC, and the Israel Innovation Authority, titled Israel's Life Sciences Industry IATI Report 2019. The information tells of a robust, growing, and increasingly integrated ecosystem where biopharma, medtech, digital health, and healthcare merge into a single bioconvergent industry. Israel's life science sector relentlessly forges ahead with new startups seeking to solve pressing healthcare-related problems, including addressing unmet medical needs. Eli Lilly recently reported that the commencement of its Libretto 431 clinical trial for Selpartinib for treatment-naive RET fusion-positive non-small cell lung cancer patients conducted in up to 158 clinical investigative sites, including the Peter MacCallum Cancer Centre in Melbourne, Australia. Elsewhere, Astellas Pharma Inc. acquired Xiphos Biosciences Incorporated to strengthen its immuno-oncology pipeline. With the acquisition, they gained the Xiphos novel and proprietary Excel technology platform, as well as industry-leading immuno-oncology talent to develop new and potentially better ways to mobilize, target, and control immune cells to find, modulate, and destroy targeted cells throughout the body. The Indian government seeks to infuse national pride into drug discovery and development, announcing via the Narendra Modi government its hunt for a made-in-India drug molecule, with a goal to demonstrate the country's scientific and research pedigree and prowess. Turning now to neurological disease-related news stories. The AMG Center for ALS at Mass General recently announced, along with Amylyx Pharmaceuticals Inc., that AMX0035 demonstrated a significant treatment benefit for people with ALS in the Centaur study. The team found that AMX0035 had a statistically significant slowing of ALS disease progression as measured by the ALS Functional Rating Scale Revised, compared to placebo, which was the primary outcome of the study. And now we turn to connected world news stories. The Guangdong provincial... Turning now to connected news stories. Turning now to a connected world news stories. The Guangdong Provincial People's Hospital, or the GDPH, and Regional Asia Pacific Clinical Research Organization, or CRO, George Clinical, have inked a memorandum and understanding, or MOU, outlining a collaborative business framework in the area of clinical research in China. The duo seeks to pursue training and education in clinical trial services, scientific networking, and involvement in trial-related activities, provision of medical monitoring, in-depth feasibility services, and investigator networks, and the like. China's clinical research sector is now white hot, and George Clinical seeks to tap in and extend its influence there. The CRO and research center collaboration, raising the GCP bar in China, is interesting, and we'll keep you posted on the story as it continues to develop. Now, research, as it turns out, isn't very efficient. A prime culprit is the difficulty in matching research studies with participants, such as in a clinical trial where a critical and ongoing challenge is patient enrollment. Now, Two Queens University in Canada graduates studies this problem and developed Research Stream, an online platform aiming to connect the essential but often elusive participant with the study sponsor. Their goal, research participant engagement. Make it easier for them to join a trial. It's just that simple. Now, real-world data-driven drug development has been a hot topic the last few years. Recently, Peter Loftus of the Wall Street Journal, or WSJ, showcased recent examples of biopharma working to win drug approvals by parsing vast data sets of electronic medical records in the hopes of depending less on random controlled trials, which can be lengthy and expensive. And now we turn to clinical challenges-related news stories. Zesong Zhen, 29, is a promising young Chinese researcher from the Sun Yat-sen University who came to America to study with Beth Israel Hospital, with a focus on bladder and renal cancer for a 2-month study abroad period. As Mr. Zhang was planning to depart back to China, Logan Airport Customs found 21 vials of an unknown substance hidden in some socks. Upon detection from Customs and after lying about the matter, the suspect confessed on his plans to steal the vials and use them for research glory in China. Now he faces charges in the United States. An unfortunate end to this story. Now, would conditional FDA drug approvals improve competition, expand access, and lower drug prices in America? So believes Representative Bruce Westerman, who declared this to be the answer to at least some of American ailments when it comes to incredibly high drug prices. Unfortunately, his treatment pathway lacks an underlying connection to the true forces driving high drug prices. Now, while acknowledging that the BMJ, formerly the British Medical Journal, along with its sister publications, is an admirable medical journal, Tuller, Senior Fellow in Public Health and Journalism at UC Berkeley's Center for Global Public Health, part of the School of Public Health, takes issue with the publication and its continued endorsement of the Lightning Process Study, or LP. The LP's objective is to investigate the effectiveness and cost-effectiveness of the Lightning Process, in addition to specialist medical care, or SMC, compared with SMC alone for children with chronic fatigue syndrome. Now, while acknowledging that the BMJ, formerly the British Medical Journal, along with its sister publications, is an admirable medical journal, Tuller, Senior Fellow in Public Health and Journalism at UC Berkeley Center for Global Public Health, part of the School of Public Health, takes issue with the publication and its continued endorsement of the Lightning Process Study. The LP's objective is to investigate the effectiveness and cost-effectiveness of the Lightning Process, in addition to specialist medical care, compared with SMC alone, for children with chronic fatigue syndrome. Archives of Disease in Childhood, a well-regarded BMJ journal, published the results in September of 2017. Tensions between America and China continue throughout the year, and in 2019 alone, 10 researchers left their academic medical positions due to some conflicts of interest. Major academic medical centers are a nexus of intellectual property creation and hence sensitive places and spaces. Trial Site News has cautioned that in America it is important to balance vigilance and oversight with open-minded spirit that has kept the country at the forefront of innovation and entrepreneurial leadership. Meanwhile, less than 2.5% of publicly funded research is dedicated solely to reproductive health, despite the fact that 1 in 3 women in the UK will suffer from a reproductive or gynecological health problem. There is 5 times more research into erectile dysfunction, which affects 19% of men, than into premenstrual syndrome, which affects 90% of women. The Swiss Tropical and Public Health Institute, or Swiss TPH, and Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health led a study that concludes that children in low and middle income countries are receiving an excessive amount of antibiotic prescriptions that could harm their ability to fight pathogens as well as increase antibiotic resistance worldwide. Turning now to lung disease-related news stories. 28-year-old Nicole Adams from Belfast is literally being suffocated by her own body due to her case of cystic fibrosis. Now, there is a wonder drug called Trikafta, which could potentially save her. The problem, although approved in America, it hasn't yet been approved in Europe or the UK, and the UK's national health system is very busy. Financial watchdog NICE doesn't seem to be in a rush to do something until 2021. Perhaps US-based Trikafta drug could maker Vertex could spring into action and release the drug for compassionate use? A month's supply is a lot, roughly about £20,000 or about $26,000. This young lady is certainly in serious trouble. Do you have any clinical news you'd like us to report on? If so, let us know. Contact information is in the box below. If you'd like to watch more videos, you can click on the playlists here. Thank you for joining us for this week's Trial Site News Weekly Roundup. And remember, subscribe and ring the bell to be notified of updates. We'll see you next time.